Alright, let's get this started. We're in the third area. We're now ranked 3 stars automatically because we just got off the ship, and now we have the mine detector. And let's take full use of that. This area is deceptively quiet compared to a couple of the other areas that we went through previously. This one doesn't have any obvious enemies. There are enemies here, but they're out of sight and hiding for the most part. This is a hidden entrance. Also, our battery for our transceiver is dead. We need to find a replacement. Fortunately, there's one that's pretty easy to find. Just a minute. And there we go. Card 3, and we get us some grenades and a battery. With that, the transceiver works again. And to the best of my knowledge, this battery lasts the rest of the game. Kind of weird, but stop and think about it, but hey, what the hell. The next area is actually incredibly difficult, but for now we're just going to take this advantage to this time to get supplies. And here we get remote control missiles, which are probably the most powerful weapon in the game. I'm not saying that for hyperbole. They have a blast radius, they do the most overall damage per hit. I think with the exception of the mines do more damage, but yeah, still very effective. Like I said, we're using this opportunity to stock up on supplies because we need them. Like I said, even with its small detection radius, the mine detector is incredibly useful. To the best of my knowledge, there's no way to disarm the mines or remove them in this game, unlike the previous game where you can shoot them. This is also a bit of English. He originally said, Nick says John is acting kind of strange. And considering that Nick dropped out of contact, Nick is also acting rather strange. But more on that later. Each of these sandbag barriers actually has an enemy hiding under it. Either a guy with a remote control missile launcher or a guy that throws grenades. Kind of like the previous boss, except a lot less intimidating overall. And, you know, not a fat guy not wearing a shirt. But it's the remote control missile guys you have to be careful of because they actually do the most damage. Here we have plastic explosives, which, ironically enough, are used quite heavily in the next area. Also, I noticed that the plastic explosive actually has 3 completely different models in this game. One for the menu, which is also used at the bottom of the screen when you're in the side-scrolling mode. One for when you're using it and when you're, planting it, which is the same one that we see in this room right here. And then one in the side-scrolling mode when you actually plant the charges, which looks closer in appearance to the original Metal Gear plastic explosive. Damn it! Freaking lines. And let's take that transceiver call now that we can. The secret entrance must be somewhere on the grounds. This is the only real clue that you have that there is, in fact, a secret entrance to the next area. And you're thinking to yourself, man, where could it be? Well, you get all these explosives, which kind of is a clue. Also, this is the first area you can contact Jennifer, but she doesn't actually give you any useful information yet. Ironically, that looks very close to her original appearance in Metal Gear. I'll show you it in a later vid. There's the remote control missile guy I mentioned. The thing about these guys is those missiles are incredibly dangerous. Like, that thing can one-shot kill me right now. But that's not even the most dangerous part. He can launch another one as soon as his first one it crashes into something or manages to kill you. Or, not hit you, or at least hit you. As such, if you get close, he can completely deplete your life bar. This level is just this side-scrolling area is just complete douchebaggery. This is, I think, the one that this is the one where people start to rage quit on, because it's that ridiculous. Actually, if I remember correctly, there's one that's much later on that's even worse, with like 5 or 6 of these back to back. And you're just like, game, what the fuck? Either that or it's a rough exaggeration and I'm running on a memory that does not in fact exist, which means I should probably reduce my medication. These mines will explode if you step on them. Pretty easy to avoid. That little device is an electrocutor. If there is an alarm sounding, it will damage you as long as you're in contact with the water by hitting you with the high voltage shock. It also will sound the alarm if it's touched. Those machines in the ceiling will drop mines. God, this is a douchey area. And if you get spotted by those cameras earlier, which it's all too easy to get spotted by, this next area turns into a nightmare. But fortunately, we made it through with only minimal damage. We're gonna restock our air tanks here. Again, mostly because it's actually useful to do it now and not have to do it again later. The upcoming area is probably the area where there is the single biggest difficulty spike in this game, bar none. And considering that Snake's Revenge has been kind of tricky up until now, that's a hell of an accomplishment. This is like the area that probably caused people to rage quit. I know it did with my friend Mercenary Cobra 1, and it's not an understatement. It is actually I think he beat this game anyway, but this is a ridiculously tough area. John tells you that he's been captured in the transport train, but that he set up the transmitter. If you head into the right train on the next screen, it's just an empty room, and there's nothing there but 3 guards. So it's the left train you actually have to go into. Also, new guards. These guys actually have different stats from the originals and are more aggressive than the guards you saw previously with the with the turbans and the shirtless look. These guys, they're a bit more aggressive, but they also are quite a bit more dangerous because of it. There is no trap on the train. I want you to remember this because there's going to be a quiz on it later. And there we get rations. There we go. Next room, we're encountering traps. A fucking plus, John. You truly are the best at being useless. This is exactly like the bridge area on the roof in the original Metal Gear, only it's half as difficult. I don't think I've ever died on that, though I know a couple of people who have. He's in the third car. There are no enemies here. Here, get some grenades. Again, one thing I like about Snake's Revenge compared to the original Metal Gear is that all of the weapons are useful. Like, you haven't seen me use claymores or anything yet, but grenades, you may have noticed in the original, I got like no mileage whatsoever out of the grenade launcher, out of a cut after. In maybe like 3 situations, I wound up using it. In this game, I use the goddamn frag grenades all the time. Okay, remember when I said earlier that this area is the work of an asshole? That is why. Yes, that was an instant death pit, and yes, it is just as deadly as it was in the original Metal Gear. Ironically, the pit closing trick still works, except the pit still appears to open fully. Other than that, the pit closing trick still works, which kind of surprised the hell out of me. But it's a lot harder to do in this because the pit opens so much faster. This room here has a ration in it. I don't remember how to get into it. I think it opens with card 2. It doesn't really matter at the moment, we're pretty much loaded. That room we passed earlier actually had a trap guy in it. And you actually have to kill him in order to exit the room. He's actually kind of difficult, and he's not worth it to fight at all. Here we get an item that's exclusive to Snake's Revenge, and that's the X-ray camera. You use it to check the structural integrity of walls, so that you can plant charges and blow through them later, which is of course vitally important in the compound ad. Again, these guards are much more aggressive than the other guards, but they also take cover a lot less. So they're actually about the same difficulty. We're in the car where John is, and that should be his room, but we don't have the card to open his room just yet. Obviously, there's a 4th card and we need to access it now. Which means we need to head up to the legendary 4th car. Well, it's not legendary, but we gotta go there. More fucking traps. John, you're just digging yourself in deeper here. Yes, there's another pit trap there, and no, I don't remember exactly where it is. Jump off the coupler between cars when the train stops. That's actually how you exit this level once it's complete. Here we have another douchebag move. Who puts these here? Can you imagine some guard like staggering in here because he's got to get the card key, and then he just dies because of some retarded security measure? Obviously, wherever it is this game is supposed to be taking place, they do not have the OSHA. Because there is no way in hell that would get past, you know, that they would have gotten the shit suit out of him. Also, this guard has probably the most useless piece of information in the game when interrogated. He tells you the exact same thing that he says when you don't gas him. My god! He actually managed to be less useful than the fucking "our weapons are ready" guy from the first building. That's a hell of an accomplishment. I mean, the bar was set pretty low at that point. Jesus. Those spike things, by the way, you completely ignore once you get the boots, but you don't get the boots until so much later, it's ridiculous. Alright, there we go. And now we have the card that we need to save John. Quickly, release my rope. Hang on, John, we're coming to save you. Everything's gonna be alright, and... Wait a minute, you're not supposed to do that. You heard us. I'm John Turner. I'm a spy. That John's a bloody spy! I'm shocked you got so far. Now prepare to die. Yes, this is a boss fight! And a hell of one at that. You know how, like, in Snake's Revenge, a lot of the bosses require something resembling actually strategy? This one essentially boils down to a damage race. John does huge amounts of damage, and it is incredibly hard to dodge those Claymore Munch shots. Fortunately, the remote control missile does a hell of a lot of damage per head. But look at that damage! 2 hits and you're down at 1 HP. God, I remembered to stock up on remote control missiles, huh? Because otherwise we'd be having to try to get over there and shoot this guy with the pistol. Oh God, can you imagine that? Be a complete pain in the dick. Anyway, he drops a very useful item. I got a powered armor. This is not a full suit of power armor, so no, you're not getting something cool like, you know, Snake equipped with, like, you know, Space Marine armor. No, this is specifically an armored sleeve. What it allows you to do is, it allows you to push large rocks by pushing against them. You use it along with the X-ray camera in the base ahead. The train seems to have stopped. Now that the train's stopped, all the other personnel have gotten off, and they've hopped off the train. Additionally, most of the traps have stopped. I would like to restock on rations, but I still don't remember what fucking card key I'm supposed to use to open that door. Watch it be card key 2 on it. I just accidentally not used it here. Because I swear to God, that would explain everything. No, I tried card key 2. So what fucking card opens that door? Does any card open that door? Do I gotta punch it or something? No. You piece of shit. You win this round, door. And here we get a call from Nick. Sorry about this late communication. The military operation is a go. And with that, we've completed the third segment of this game. Stay tuned for the next episode, where the difficulty spike continues to ramp up.